At what point do we stop pretending that UConn can lose? Yeah, it's high time we stop acting like UConn has any real competition out there.
There's got to be somebody out there that can compete with them.
Compete. That's all we're asking.
There has to
Compete.
be. There has to be.
How are you guys? This is Club Hoops Basketball. I made that up. This is Club Hoops Podcast, actually, a father-daughter women's basketball podcast. I am Natalie.
And I am Gregory.
Yes, that is the father. I'm the daughter.
Yep.
Let's hop right into it. Yeah, we do these like pre-game things and try to give valuable commentary and feedback. Last game though, against Iowa, I kind of just said, I left optimism open for USC. I didn't do it for Iowa, even though they're number 11. Number 14 now. Yeah, and rightfully so. They were never in this game.
Well,
Ever.
I don't. Let me say this. They were in the game as much as they could be in the game against UConn. You know what I mean?
That's my point. Like, do I give you cookies because you kept it within 10
Yeah,
in the first quarter? I don't know if I do. For me personally.
Okay, I think against that UConn team, you got to give them something. I mean, for staying close.
No, I give more UConn the credit for just being dominant, for coming out and having a dominant performance from start to finish. And that's mostly hats off to Gino, right? He's like, I'm not taking my starters out just because we're like up 40. Yeah. I think it is hard to compete with UConn. Certainly if you're a team like Iowa and the matchups just aren't there. But I can't applaud you because you stayed within 10 over here and then there. You lost 64-90.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you this is probably, I can do the cliche, what a great learning experience this is for this team. And now you can kind of see where you are and how far you have to go to actually compete with to get a national title, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, the story is UConn is just great.
Yeah, they're a beast.
Period.
They're a beast. I mean, they are a very well-oiled machine. And that's all we've seen from them so far this season is that they're a very, very well-oiled machine. Gino, obviously Gino's going to do what he's going to do, but he's got those ladies playing. He has those ladies playing like they've been playing together for 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd combined for 50 points. Sarah Strong had 23. AZ Fudd had 27. Now, I will say AZ took a while to get going.
Yeah.
She really didn't start heating up until the second half, if we want to give a hats off to Iowa. However, it wasn't for a lack of not having good looks. They just weren't dropping, right. And it took about the third quarter for it to drop. Now, on Iowa's side, hats off to Hannah Stolke and Chit Chat. Hannah finished with 17. Chit Chat ended with 16. Since you're in the giving holiday mode of patting people on the back and giving gold stars, we can give that to them. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what else to say. They just, like you said, it's UConn. I mean, what were they really supposed to do? I read our last episode. I read some quotes from their coach, and even their coach pretty much understood they were playing a WNBA team and they're just going to give it their all. And unfortunately, and like you said, against a well-oiled machine like UConn, your all probably is not enough. Your best isn't going to cut it.
We may be, and this may be a bit premature, we may be getting into the territory of if someone can just keep the game close for a half, you can declare success. We may be getting into that territory.
We may be getting to territory. If you can lose by like 15 points or less, it's a success.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Because they're blowing teams out by 30, maybe almost 40. But if you can only lose by 10 or 15, you've won.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. Every great team has every good team has a Batman and Robin. Every great team has a Batman, Robin, and Alfred. Okay. And the big three. And UConn happens to have a big 5+. So they're pretty good The starting five is pretty good, and the folks that come in after them, that bench that is so deep, is also pretty good.
Yeah. And, at the time, they were number 11, and people were like, I think it was projected already they were going to win by 20 plus points. And people were like, so they're projected to
Yeah.
win 20
Yeah.
plus points on a team that's in the top 11. How did we get here? We got here because UConn is finally healthy.
Yeah.
This is what a healthy UConn team looks like. Like, this is not a fluke. This is not an accident. This is what a healthy UConn team looks like. They had been dealing with injuries for a couple seasons now. They finally have a healthy AZ Fudd, a healthy Sarah Strong. Everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
Full,
Yeah.
what they call it, full strength.
Yeah.
Everything's full
Yeah.
strength. What we might be looking at too is a undefeated season, which would be the 7th, I believe, in the history of that program. But they're looking like we might get an undefeated season.
Yeah, I think here I'm hesitant to go there right now because there are teams. I give teams opportunity to make some adjustments. Figure out or think through how are you going to deal with Sarah Strong in the paint? How are you going to deal with AZ Fudd on the perimeter? So I want to give the competition, particularly a South Carolina, a LSU. I'm even going to throw in a Louisville right now. You want to give these teams opportunity to think through this, and that generally comes, I think, about the halfway mark, as to what do we need to do to slow them down and eventually win. That's why I'm so hesitant to say, yeah, we might be looking at an undefeated season, but I want to give these other teams an opportunity to react, because UConn they're a juggernaut. And right now, teams aren't reacting. I mean, Sarah Strong basically had her way in that Iowa game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was even pulling up shooting threes. So
that's her game.
yeah,
She's got a 3-pointer in her bag.
right. So I want to give them some time.
I will say it's hard to adjust or make adjustments when your team is what it is, right? However, with that being said, breaking news today, Dawn Staley has made an adjustment. So South Carolina has signed French forward Alicia, I know I'm going to mess up this last name, Tournebize. That's what it is today, Tournebize, and I don't know if that's right. But Alicia T, she's signed with the program, will join the team after the holiday break. She's played with France's Tango Burgess basketball. Basically, she's played pro, okay? I can't pronounce these words. And she has played in the FIBA. She brings size, versatility, and international experience, which, as we know, because she's played pro, much like if you go over Yukon Blanca, she's bringing maturity. She's bringing poise, experience. She's known for her scoring, rebounding, and defensive instincts and high basketball IQ. She also can dunk, a la Dominique Malonga. She's a dunker, in-game dunker, not just practice. She's in the game on the fast break dunking. And that wasn't impressive enough, her mom will be headed to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in 2026 for her standout career at Colorado, in the WNBA, and in Europe. So they got a dog coming, basically. 6'4", by the way.
That's what I was going to say. So let me get this straight. Somehow, some way, Dawn Staley has, I don't know, or somebody made a trip to France, found this 6'4" phenom, got her to, I'm going to say, enroll in the University of South Carolina, and she's going to start playing basketball right after the first of the year.
In the spring semester, my friend.
If I'm Gino, I'm asking for an investigation.
Investigate.
I'm asking for it. How does this happen?
And then I read she's on a financial aid thing. I don't even know. Like, that's too much in the weeds for me, of like the logistics of it all. But to your point, yes, somehow Dawn made this happen. Also, this young lady, I think she's only like 18, so she's like a true freshman. And like I said, she's 6'4". Why is that important? Because Miriam over there already 6'4". Joyce Edwards 6'3". Chloe Kitts is out, but she's 6'2", but she's out. Aga, is that how you pronounce it? AGOT? I can never pronounce her name, but 6'1". and then Ala 6'1", Adele 6'5". So Dawn is adding even more height to that, and she's adding more depth, which means the bench just got a little bit more efficient. And if you think this is not to compete with the Sarah Strong of it all, think again. Dawn is coming for that natty. Dawn has said, hold up. While you guys are talking about UConn going undefeated, I got a dog coming from France.
I don't want this to get lost. She is 6'4" and dunking.
In game.
Yeah.
Breakaway.
Yeah, okay. She's found a jewel. You know, she's found it, and literally went over to France or wherever, Paris. I don't know where this lady was. She's found a jewel. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, it's a game of action and reaction. So she's got this dog that she's bringing over. Gino has dogs that are here already in the kennel barking, needing to be fed. So we'll see. We'll see how this comes out.
Oh, it just got so juicy. It just got so good. I cannot wait to see how all this unfolds and how we get to the tournament and all that stuff. Because Dawn, you know, Chloe Kitts went out with the ACL injury. She still had Joyce Edwards. You know, they still had some good pieces. Dawn said, I don't think so. Not good enough, because I see how good UConn is playing. I see what is going to happen, and not on my watch. I'm not going to just, and this is no shade to USC, but this is kind of the points we were making about USC needing to go get a presence in the middle, someone that could be a consistent presence. Even Andrea, who was on the call last night for USC versus Cal, she even noted that they still haven't found that consistent person yet. Yeah. Yes, Juju's coming back. Yes, you have Sanaya coming over and Jazzy. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah. Trust me. But you need a consistent presence in the middle. That is what Dawn Staley recognized. That's what she went and got. Yeah. That is what USC needs to do. If you plan on taking this program anywhere, go get you someone 6'4" plus. Because also, let's not forget, even though we don't think she's the number 3 player in the country, we still respect the 6'7" Lauren Betts. Right. You still have to compete with a 6'7" person.
That's right.
To get on the road to the night. I'm very impressed with Dawn. I mean, I never thought I could get more impressed with Dawn Staley in the South Carolina Gamecocks. Very impressed for an in-season adjustment. Mind is blown. Mind is blown.
Yeah, I think first of all, like I said, somebody's going to make something out of this some kind of way, because she's coming over in the spring, and I'm thinking other teams had to know about her, right? This woman is just not playing in France and going unknown, right? Unrecognized.
Unnoticed.
Yeah, unnoticed.
Yeah.
So for Dawn to pull her, and nothing against South Carolina, but they have programs out there with, I'm sure, significant NIL money to attract this lady as well. So Dawn had to really talk to her, give her that sales pitch, and then she had to really make her feel like this is a fit for you. You know, I know LSU can pay you more NIL money. I know USC can pay you more NIL money, but you need to come to South Carolina. So yeah.
Or, I mean, even UConn, right? You could probably go win a ring with UConn, but you have to sell her on, yes, what our program does, that way it can do for you, but also their culture, right? Yep. Dawn had to sell in the culture, her style of coaching, the way she runs a team. Probably use Camilla as an example of what, the program can do for you. Obviously, Asia Wilson is a big name, a very attractive career trajectory for someone the size of Alicia. I wouldn't doubt that Asia had to get on the phone call, maybe one or two, or Asia didn't meet with her and say, "Hey, I love this place. You should come play." Yeah, Dawn's great. All the things. I'm just very excited for that South Carolina team, because you can tell they're missing Chloe Kitts. Obviously, they're still a great team getting it done, but you can just tell losing Chloe Kitts has kind of made everyone have to adjust a bit. But bringing Alicia in, and again, having that added depth, I think they will be able to compete with Texas even. because remember they had a hard time with Texas. It's just exciting. I like it. It's messy.
It makes you wonder when they were all over for the Olympics about a year ago,
Mm, mhm.
did the recruiting start at that point?
Right, because Dawn was over
I was
there
over there.
to
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
the game.
Asia was over there.
Mhm.
Okay,
Maybe they had a little croissant,
maybe,
a little escargot.
maybe, maybe.
Do I know any other French food?
Yeah, I don't know.
Duck à l'orange, soup de jour,
Okay. You should have just stuck with you.
French
You
toast,
should have just stuck with French fries.
French fries. Oui, oui. Uh, yeah, Dawn, you sneaky lady,
Yeah,
you. Love
yeah.
it. So, but I mean, let this be an example to again the USC's, the other teams. Like, be proactive and be like, super intentional when you're building your team to
Definitely.
compete with UConn. Now, obviously, as someone noted in one of our comments, AZ will be going to the draft next year, so UConn will have to figure out a way to make up for the points they lose there. But again, Sarah Strong will be there for another, I'm going to say at least 3
Yeah.
years. 2 at the least,
Yeah.
but 3 probably is more
Yeah.
realistic.
And I think if I'm Gino, obviously, show me. You brought this person over from France. I'm not panicked. Show me.
Right. If you're Gino, you're like, oh,
Me.
you're scared.
Yeah.
Y'all scared.
Show me.
You're doing all this just to beat us. Y'all scared.
Yeah. So
Oh, it got good. It got so good. Really quickly, Louisville beat Tennessee on a Saturday morning, 65-89. I was able to watch some of that game, although it was terribly early, and I fell asleep in the third quarter because it was so early. But you know who else fell asleep in the third quarter? Tennessee. Completely disappeared in that third quarter. Jania Barker. Sorry, my pronunciations are terrible today, but she only had 7 points, and she's usually their top scorer. Tennessee has great players. It's just not coming together.
yeah.
They're just not buying into maybe what the coach is telling, but it's not coming together. But like I said, Louisville, my sleeper team. Louisville is a great basketball team,
Great team.
and ranking aside, do not underestimate
Yeah,
Louisville.
they're a great team. The game was tied, I think, at halftime. It was 48-48 at halftime. And I said, okay, well, again, these halftime things have been turning out where the teams come out at halftime and they're different teams. And
Yeah.
certainly Louisville came out as a very, very different team. And they started putting in that work. Again, I was glad to see, the competition in the first half. But as you said, that third quarter when it hit, oh my God, I don't know. And Tennessee had good shots. I mean, around the basket, they just couldn't put it in. They couldn't get the ball in the-
field goal attempts.
Yeah,
They were 26 for 76.
yeah,
It was pretty bad. Even free throws, 7 for 16.
yeah.
They got out rebounded. That was the thing I noted because they're a great rebounding team, and I thought at least they would out rebound Louisville. They got out rebounded 56-35.
Yeah.
They simply just did not
Yeah,
show up.
and
They looked terrible.
and the other sort of horrifying part about that is it got a little physical in the fourth. When
a little chippy.
They got a little chippy in the fourth, and the game was decided, in my opinion, at that point. And so there really wasn't, a need to get chippy. But I understand, you're losing badly, particularly after being close in that first half, and you tend to, want to be a little aggressive because it's not necessarily going your way. And it didn't get like dirty chippy. It was clean chippy. If folks subscribe to clean chippy, it was clean chippy. But nonetheless, it got a little physical in that fourth quarter.
Well, I think it's frustration, right?
Yeah.
And the game's on national television. I mean, it's a frustrating situation. And I'm sure they thought, obviously you think you're going to win every game, but you certainly think it's going to be closer than this. I mean, they're ranked it was like 16 and 17, I believe.
16 and 17. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
close.
so they're just a little frustrated. They've got a lot of things to figure out, especially if they want to make the tournament. Like I said, great players over there. They just need to figure out a way.
You're talking about Tennessee, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Yes, definitely. Also, I want to note, I mentioned it before, but USC and Cal played. They were USC won 61-57. USC, I try not to be that hard on them, considering, again, Juju's out. They lost a lot of players from last year. One big factor, Kiki Arifin. But the only reason they won this game is because Cal cannot make free throws. I think that if I'm their coach, we're going to do that for the first 30 minutes and maybe add a little running, because they were 20 for 30 from the free throw line. There's the game right there. You left the game at the free throw line.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
No, they've got to do better from the line. And I just, again, they played at the game was played at Chase, right? Chase Center. And I don't,
In San
yeah, in San Francisco. So I don't think it was like an overwhelming environment for them. I believe Cal's played there before at Chase, and I know SC's played there before. But you've gotta make free throws. Like, as one of your coaches used to say, free throws win games, and you have to do that. USC though, here was the thing about that game from the USC perspective though. I saw Jazzy play a different level of intensity during that game than she did against UConn, which now makes me believe that she may have been a little overwhelmed playing UConn.
Intimidation factor.
Playing UConn, because in the Cal game, she was blocking shots, she had assists, she was scoring points. And so there's so Jazzy came alive during the Cal game, where during the UConn game she wasn't as much. But UConn helped. Okay, they helped their demise. I mean, I'm sorry, Cal helped their own demise. But yeah, I really thought that the game was shouldn't have been that close. I thought USC should have won by more, but that's just me.
Well, Jazzy did end the game with 24, and I do agree with you. They should have been more dominant. That to me speaks more to coaching. I'm still not really sold on their coach. I really would like to see a different coach for Jazzy and Juju and Sanaya, but it is what it is. Even though they ended up with the win, and even though Jazzy had 24 points, they got outplayed in this game, period. Cal's not a great team. Like, this is not like some elite power ranked team. And to your point, that's why I too thought, okay, they'll dominate Cal.
Yeah.
But it almost was reminiscent again of that Washington game. The first quarter, very low scoring. USC scored 2 points in the third quarter until maybe the 3-4 minute mark. Again, if Cal made their free throws, USC does not win this game. And I will say what kept USC in this game, they were able to make 3-pointers. They were 7 for 19, but Cal was only 1 for 11. So that helped too. But they got out-rebounded on defensive rebound, 29-17. Like, in all these categories, if you just look at the box score, Cal should have won. But again, they can't make free throws. There is I can't remember, is it Cooks? A South Carolina transfer on Cal, which I was interested to see how she did. She was okay. She contributed, but again, she didn't have like a dominating performance, kind of like I thought she would. But it was just interesting to see her play. But again, hats off to Cal. They played a good game. This is well played game against a power ranked team. Obviously, we can't say it enough. Different game with Juju's in. But at the same time, I would like to see Juju in a program, same with Jazzy, where they don't depend so much on them performing well, where everyone can contribute. And, you're not always looking to Juju or Jazzy. Now, admittingly, and we've said this in previous episodes, Jazzy has a lot on her plate for a freshman. And I like how you note that she did play with a different level of intensity. She looked way more confident in this game than UConn. So yes, maybe it was a little bit of intimidating factor for freshmen. And her low will get lightened once Juju comes back a little bit. But any win is a good win. It's ugly. A lot of their wins have been ugly this season because they're dealing with injuries. And again, I hold space for that. I'm not too judgmental. But again, they're a few dogs short. If they actually want to go somewhere and win something, few dogs short.
Don't you think in today's college program that all the teams put pressure on their stars to carry the water? You know what I mean? I mean, if you look,
I don't actually. I don't think that's every team's experience. Specifically, when we look at the UConns the South Carolinas, even UCLA, as much as they want Lauren Betts to be the premier player, she really doesn't have that pressure to perform. They would probably like her to drop 40 like Audi Crooks every game, but she's got such great guards around her. Everyone on that team is tall. Like I just don't I think it's I do like Notre Dame is probably closest to the USC experience of how Hannah Hidalgo kind of has to run that show. But I don't think every team has to have that because I think it's to the disadvantage of the team.
Well, it is
to have everything on one player.
Yeah, I just think that your big five, and you brought up Lauren, your big five, the offense is geared around making sure your top players get X number of touches. Okay.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
And with that, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. With that, if your top players aren't performing, then you suffer. You may suffer a loss, you may suffer, you may suffer a huge margin at halftime or whatever. But I just think I see a lot of, and you mentioned Audi Crooks. I mean, a lot of she gets fed constantly in their system. Same thing with Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd. They get fed constantly in the UConn system. And Jazzy fed constantly in the SC system. But again, the offense starts with them, and to a certain extent, particularly UConn, the defense starts with your star players. So that's just an observation.
Yeah. Yeah, but as you said, players, they got plural. Right now, because of their injuries, SC only has Jazzy. And that's no shade to anybody else on that team, but Jazzy is your scorer. You just mentioned defense. She's got to be the defensive presence. Like it's all on her. And again, I only mention that because she's a freshman, and it's a very unique experience. Probably a unique to Juju as well. I think Juju was kind of in the same position when she was a freshman. She was averaging 27 points her freshman year. So it's not unheard of. But I'm just saying, as far as that program goes, it's a difficult season they're having.
It is. No doubt.
Find a way to win these games. I mean, God, you're struggling against Cal. Jesus Christ. In Washington.
Yeah.
By the way, the individual that transferred from South Carolina to Cal, it was Sakima Walker, and she finished the game with 13 points and 10 rebounds. So decent game.
Good outing.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy. Before we wrap, I gotta talk about Audi Crooks. She had another 40-point plus game. She dropped 41 on Kentucky in a very close game, by the way. They won on a buzzer beater.
Oh, wow.
And shout out to Kentucky again for your efforts. But they won on a buzzer beater. And my takeaway from that game is, while I look up the score, my takeaway from that game is let me calm down. I don't understand why Kentucky did not double Audi Crooks at all. I'm not quite.
We've said this before. I mean, it's the same. Who's doing the scouting for these teams, right? It's the same thing. With Sarah Strong and others when these ladies score exceptionally well in the paint. So why aren't you like one, ball denial, two, when they do get the ball, double them to get the ball out of their hands or make shots difficult for them. Audi Crooks has been doing this all season in terms of dominating the paint. So the game plan out the gate should be, double her or deny her the ball or both, if you can.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know what happened with that either, but that should have been in the scouting report.
And excuse me, it's Kansas. I said Kentucky, Kansas, and they won 76-79. The not double teaming was weird because Audi even said they prepared for a double team. Like they're prepared for you to double team because they're like, surely you've seen what Audi's been doing. And now you're like not doubling her. Yeah. Mind you, this was her fourth career 40-point game. And the poor girl they left on the island with Audi. It was like, it's like, did your coach hate you? Is this a hazing process? Like, that poor girl didn't stand a chance, and they never adjusted. Yeah. I just don't get it.
Well, it was barbecue chicken. Well, I'm sure Audi looked up and said, "Oh, you're going to play me one-on-one straight up?" Nobody's been able to do that this year. And so we're going to go to the rack, and I'm going to drop 40 on you, and then you can read about it in the paper tomorrow. And then next time we play, then maybe you might want to do something differently. They really, it's mind blowing to me how teams don't start out, particularly with her, with Audi, doubling her.
Right.
Sarah Strong, in the UConn team, I get it. If you double her, then the ball gets kicked out to AZ Fudd, and she's wide open for a three because no one's probably guarding her because that person's down guarding Sarah. But with Audi, she can kick the ball out, and you just take your chances on that one. I don't know what the consistency is in terms of 3-pointers from their perimeter folks, but I know what the consistency is with Audi in the paint down low. I
Right.
know what that stat is, and that is made basket. So I just don't know. I don't know what Kansas might have been thinking about. I don't know if they had exceptional expectations of the player that was guarding her, and they saw something in practice that said, "Oh yeah, you can take her by yourself." But I just wouldn't let her. I wouldn't let her roam around by herself in the paint.
Well, I think that's absolutely right because I was thinking, is there a scout hort we don't know about that they have shooters and so they just do not want to leave Crooks? But to your point, if Crooks is dropping 40 on you, 40 points. Maybe you take that chance. Maybe you cut her scoring down to 20, right?
Yep.
And give yourself a chance in the box score. But I think it's really funny that even Crooks was like, "Yeah, I don't know. We prepared for them to double me. I have no idea what that was." But shout out to them, like they didn't double and they still this still was a back and forth game, a well played game. But I mean, the score Iowa almost had 80 points. Half of those points were Crooks. Education, double Crooks. Hello.
Well, Iowa State, what Iowa State does, they're an open book. They're an open book. They're telling you, they've shown you, we're going to feed Audi down low until we can't feed her anymore. They're an
Or
open
until
book.
you catch on to what until you
Right? Yeah,
adjust.
yeah,
Well, we
yeah,
won't. Yeah,
yeah.
you get what I'm
So yeah. So
blah blah blah.
this is what's going to happen. And like I said, their guards must have trained all summer on making that interior pass because they
Right.
get the ball to her in her spot each and every time.
Right.
Each and every time they get the
Exactly.
ball to her. I've seen that over the last 3 games.
Right.
So cut that off first if I'm the opposing team. Stop that from
Right.
happening. Make them do
Right.
something. Make Iowa State do something different. And to date, they haven't had to do anything different.
Right. In the last 4 games, Audi has scored 41, 30, 30, and 47.
Yeah.
So while I'm asking, will UConn go undefeated? Can anyone beat UConn? Can anyone guard Audi Crooks? Is there anyone up there, any team up there up for the challenge? I'm also asking for a drug test.
On who?
Just kidding.
On who?
Crooks.
Hey,
I'm
what she's doing is not enabled by drugs. What she what
I'm
she
also
what she
asking to test this young
look,
woman because what world?
yeah, what she's doing is skill and ability and heart. Straight
Mhm,
heart, because she is
mhm.
bringing it.
Yeah, she is, and I love watching her play. Like, what a time to be alive while Crooks is balling. Finally, shout out to Washington, or excuse me, shout out to Stanford for beating Washington. They got a power ranked win under the belt, even though it's Washington. But shout out to them. Stanford's in our backyard. I went to Stanford basketball
You
camp.
did.
I gotta celebrate
Yep,
Stanford.
yep, you did. You did. Got to actually, were you like camp MVP or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, Camp All
Yep,
Star,
awesome. That's
yada
right.
yada yada,
Yeah,
blah
yeah,
blah
yeah.
blah,
Right. Yep. Now I remember.
blah 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 blah
Yeah, that
blah.
was it was a while ago. So dad's having a hard time with his memory as I age here.
Wasn't that long ago. Thank you very much. Um, Anywho, if you're done throwing shade, I would like to tell the people to like, subscribe, comment. Do you think UConn can be beat? Did Dawn Staley just pull a reverse Uno on the whole NCAA? Let me know. Let us know. It is Christmas week. I'm not sure if we'll have another episode, but if we do, it'll be a nice little surprise for you.
Yeah, it is Christmas week,
Uh,
and we should wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. If you do not celebrate any pagan holiday, just have a great 25th.
Feliz Navidad.
Like if you're Feliz Navidad, um, all that stuff. Or just have a good break. If you need a break from school, from work, enjoy your time off and just relax. That's what it's about. And enjoy some NBA on the Christmas day.
Yeah.
We'll try to. I don't know. The NBA product is.
Well, there's football too. I mean, the NFL's playing on Christmas Day as well. So there's something for everybody on Christmas Day.
There's something for
Really is.
everybody. Well, until then, have a happy holiday if we don't talk to you. And subscribe, like, all that stuff. And